Hi, my name is Brooke Petroselli. I'm a technology coordinator for Deerfield Community School in Deerfield, New Hampshire. Deerfield is a small K-8 school, grade school in a fairly rural region of New Hampshire, yet close enough to several of New Hampshire's larger cities. We have 540 kids. Our 6 through 8 middle school has 154 students with 16 teachers and about 9 supporting staff. My main goal was to motivate the staff to use STEM and NASA resources in their classroom curriculum. I wanted the focus to be broad, yet specific enough to provide an easy activity for the teachers to walk away with to bring back to their classrooms. I really wanted to share my passion and demonstrate how STEM can spark inspiration with their students. All my resources were from NASA, except for 2. One was background information on the 5E lesson plan, and the other was a tech tool called Flippity. I used this video called We Are NASA to kick off my workshop, and it really can capture the imagination and curiosity that NASA can incite. It's a fabulous video, and it did just what I wanted it to do, where everybody was just gobsmacked while watching this. Narrated by Mike Rowe. Fabulous video. Highly recommend that. I wanted to highlight the 5E lesson plan, and only a couple of my staff had ever heard of it, and I used NASA eClips to show the resources that NASA has with that, and they're all organized into a 5E format. So that was a great way to illustrate the lesson and introduce a NASA resource to them. And then we went into looking at some of the current Mars missions. So we looked at Moon to Mars and the Mars 2020, and then Mars Insight. I found really interesting was I showed this this video from Imagine Mars, which I actually got gasps from the staff when I showed them this. And there's a lot of kids showing their presentations in or doing some activity on Imagine Mars. And that's really when my staff kind of came around to thinking, whoa, I could actually do this in my classroom. So after looking at some of the Mars missions, and we did some interactive examples of how much they knew about Mars, I introduced a tool called Flippity, which is a tool that uses Google Spreadsheets to create quite a lot of things. We used it for like a Mars discovery timeline. I also introduced this other lesson that's called Red Rocks, and it's an interactive lesson. And as a student, you have to go in and observe red rocks and look at chemical composition and water evidence. And it's fabulous. And you act just as a scientist, taking detailed notes as you go along. I'm going to keep my eye on this because it's a collaboration between NASA and Arizona State University called Infiniscope. I think that's fabulous. We also did AR/VR, which is what I have in my STEM lab, and they went to Mars and walked around a rover. I had them do Scratch, where they use code to program a rover across the Martian landscape. My students built Clawbots, so the staff used Clawbots to build a house, which was really just getting blocks on top of each other, and I had them do that, as we will probably be programming robots to do the same thing on Mars to make a habitat for humans at some point. Also introduced NASA's Eyes and showed them all the tools that they can use with that. This is NASA's Eyes, and I'm showing a teacher here of all the different things you can do with NASA's Eyes. So I feel that the outcome was very positive from my surveys and my interviews, my hallway conversations. I do have one team from at least each grade span that I'm meeting with to work on an integrated lesson plan with STEAM. So as we go forward, I'm going to be doing a monthly bulletin on STEAM and STEM ideas. So I'm just going to skip down to the links that I used. These I did not. Some of these I talked about during the presentation, and some I just used as additional resources that I used, and these were all the ones. So I will end this presentation there. Thank you.